we're the Providence Tennis Company, and we have an idea on how to produce tennis balls cheaply and effectively. One unit of our product consists of 3 tennis balls, which we mass produce in Wyoming. We sell each unit for $4.99. To produce our tennis balls, we use a mix of heavy machinery and labor, and we will show you a video on how we do so.
The thing that everyone watches the most during a tennis match is also the thing that is thought about the least. The ball is taken for granted. It's a vital part of the game and is expected to fly and bounce with consistency every time. In tennis ball manufacture, a soft rubber is pulverized between 2 heavy rollers to give it a firmer, less rubbery nature. Plugs of rubber are produced, and these will form the half shells that will become the inside of the ball. Although highly advanced technologically, a tennis ball's manufacture is relatively labor-intensive. This factory operates 24 hours a day to produce millions of balls each month for the enormous world market. After being coated with adhesive, the 2 halves are joined using intense heat and pressure in a process known as vulcanizing. An unbreakable joint is formed in this way. Just before the 2 halves come together inside the machine, a quick burst of pressurized air creates the correct pressure in each ball. A ball used at high altitude will be charged with a low pressure, and those used at sea level will be slightly more pressurized. This pressure will ensure a consistent bounce at the altitude for which the ball is designed. The rubber surface is sanded to make it rough, and a coating of adhesive is applied as the ball tumbles in a spinning drum of glue. The felt cover of a tennis ball is made of 2 dumbbell-shaped pieces of material. These pass through a glue bath and will shortly be applied to the rubber ball. Covering is either done by hand or by machine. Hand covering is more accurate, and this can be seen by the very consistent width in the glue line that runs around the ball. Air bubbles are removed in the rolling machine, and the balls are ready to pass through a 3rd vulcanizing process, and this time the felt covering is bonded firmly to the inner rubber section. A surface is produced that can withstand the rigors of the pounding that a tennis ball receives as it bounces on the rough surface of the tennis court. A quick tumble dry fluffs up the felt, and the ball passes through the final processes before being packed into the can. Tennis balls have a long history of service. Colors have changed, materials have changed. The resulting modern ball is a manufacturing marvel that we all take for granted and expect to perform with consistent perfection.
I'm going to show you what's on the inside of a tennis ball. As you can see, the outside is felt, a mixture of felt and wool, and the inside is completely rubber, and it's hollow so that you get that bounce.
To produce our tennis balls, we're going to need a variety of direct materials, the biggest of which are natural rubber and felt. The natural rubber is the base of the tennis ball, and then the felt goes on top to produce the green look that everybody loves. We're also going to need calcium carbonate, pigment, sulfur, and accelerators in order to put them into our machine to produce the rubber further in order to get the perfect bounce. We're going to get all of our direct materials from India and Southeast Asia because that's where natural rubber is most highly produced, and buying it wholesale we can get it at a very low rate, which in turn is only going to make each cylinder of the 3 tennis balls about 50 cents, which is very good compared to other American brands. So in addition to the heavy machinery that we're using, it's pretty labor intensive. So our biggest workers that we need are machine workers, but we also need janitors, packaging workers, and shipping workers. So the machine workers are mostly going to be moving the tennis balls from machine to machine and ensuring that everything goes smoothly. And these are going to be at a rate of $7.25 per hour. And we assume that each cylinder of tennis balls is going to need 0.15 hours by the machine workers. The janitors are going to ensure that everything's clean in the around the machine so that there's no accidents and so that everything stays on track and on target, and we don't want any spills or anyone to get injured. The packaging workers are going to be the workers who put the three tennis balls into the cylinder and ensure that the lid is on tightly, and also they will put our logo onto all of the cylinders. So the shipping workers are then going to help to package all of the cylinders into the shipment and get it into the truck and get it ready for shipment. So as I said before, the rate of all of these is $7.25, which will be produced in Wyoming, and this is because that is the lowest minimum wage rate in the country, or one of them. So for total direct labor for each of the packets of tennis balls is going to be around $2.18 per cylinder. So we project for the next 3 years our sales growth is going to be increasing a lot. So for the first year we're expecting to sell about 50,000 units, which is over $200,000 in profit. And then by year 3 we're going to be selling over around 150,000 units of tennis balls, which is close to $800,000 in profit. So as you can see, we're steadily increasing and getting into more markets around the world, and we're going to have more opportunity for selling and growing our company. And so as we said before, we need a lot of heavy machinery in order to produce our tennis balls. So a couple of the machines that we're going to need as an investment are the two-roll mixing mill, a hydraulic compression molding press, motor and starter, half-cup molding die, full ball curing die, felt dumbbell cutting press, bare ball abrading drum with motor, cup edges abrading stone with motor tools and equipment, and then we're also going to need furniture and office equipment and a generator to ensure that all of these machines are running efficiently at all times. So the total cost for this is going to be $187,500. And this is an investment, but these machines are going to last for a long time. They don't have heavy depreciation, so we're going to be getting a lot of good use out of them, and it's going to really help us increase our profits.
There are many costs included to start up and run the company. These include the variable plus the fixed costs incurred. The variable costs are the direct materials such as rubber, felt, and plastic used to make 1 unit of the product. The variable costs also include the direct labor and manufacturing overhead, along with the selling and administrative variable costs. The fixed costs will include the factory rent, insurance, equipment fees, depreciation, salaries, and advertising. Our company sold 50,000 units in year 1, 100,000 units in year 2, and 150,000 units in year 3. With a steady increase in sales, the gross profit also increased steadily. After the cost of goods sold was subtracted from the sales revenue for each year, the company resulted in a positive gross profit for each 3 years. As the sales are expected to increase from year to year, the operating expenses, including the selling and administrative expenses, will increase along with it. Due to the heavy equipment needed, along with the expensive advertising, salaries, depreciation, and tax fees required to mass produce the tennis balls, the company will face many operating expenses. In future years, our company may look at outsourcing certain materials involved in producing the tennis balls to cut back on spending of production in the factory. As a startup company, we're expecting a net loss in our first few years of operations. As stated previously, in all 3 years, the company will produce a large gross profit. However, after all the operating interest and tax expenses are subtracted, the company's net income will result in a loss. As shown in the graph, years 1, 2, and 3 all end in a large net loss. However, with a steady increase in sales from year to year, the net loss, while still significant, will be reduced. With an increase in sales of approximately 50,000 in each new year, the net loss will nearly cut in half. Sales are hopefully expected to increase by 50,000 in upcoming years. Our sales will soon result in a net income to make up for the net loss that was incurred. At the end of the day, the Providence Tennis Company plans to borrow $2 million from the venture capitalist in exchange for 20% stake in our company. This will cover the direct labor costs, direct material costs, operating expenses, and the cost to produce our tennis balls through the equipment and labor.